Hello, welcome back to Cold Ones, where we crack them open. I'm Colin, and I'm here with Sam. Sam, what are we talking about today?
The cold one we will be opening today is story editing, specifically in context to how you edit for narrated TV, or not TV, but narrated stories, I guess. So it's instead of like your classic 30-minute spot where it's just where there's no plot, it's just like here's a thing we want to sell you or whatever. This is specifically editing in things like Premiere for stories, plot driven.
So this is coming from a place of higher education.
Yeah, I suppose, like pinky out.
Yeah, because my whole editing base is just built on watching those videos on YouTube. They're like, my boy, eat this spaghetti and you will die.
YouTube poop.
Just does that stuff. So I would like to hear your theory.
It's funny because that's kind of where I got my start with like editing early on, was with like not necessarily specifically to YouTube, but with like Tim and Eric style videos. So I'm a big fan of like graphics that come in like or like like one time I made my face and then I split it in half and then I had it go like jump, like just stuff like that. That's where I kind of got into editing. But then now more that I've gotten older and started working with more people who write scripts, it's been nice because I've gotten to just make cuts, and then people are like, "Oh my gosh, that looks so great! You edited that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, like I had to make like 10 cuts."
So you're pretty familiar with editing for like narratives and storylines and things like that.
Yeah, I did a decent amount when I was in school. Now that I've started working, not as much, because we have another friend who kind of takes care of a lot of the editing. But when I was in school, especially, I did a lot of narrative editing, and it's fun. It's definitely harder because you can't, with editing that's not story driven, you can show somebody Flash and they'll just love it because it's big, it's flashy, it's in your face. Whereas story editing, lots of times the best editing is editing you don't notice. So then it's like, oh, I made this, be like, check out how great this cut is, it's so smooth. And someone will go, what did you do? And you're like, look, this cut right here. And they're like, I didn't notice. And you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that's kind of the point, is that it's supposed to take you. Because if you sit there and you're watching a movie and the whole time you're critiquing the edit, they didn't do a very good job because you're noticing it. So it's like, a good documentary, you never notice any of the cuts in between anything. It's just seamless.
So it's kind of disappointing when somebody's like, oh, I didn't notice. But it also validates your work.
Yeah, it's a weird, like, conflicting, battle of, right and left.
So what's something that you would do in a like a commercial edit that you wouldn't do in a narrative edit?
I guess I really wouldn't. Oh, yeah, I guess it's that time of the week.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta use these. Right.
Yeah, I guess what I really wouldn't do is, if I had to think about it, I wouldn't necessarily in a story edit put a graphic that like brings attention away from what's behind it. So like Tarantino is a great example of typography and graphics that don't distract. Lots of times they're very plain, they're blocky, they sit there, and if they move, it's just a little fade in or a fade out. But then you'll have movies like, like a lot of the Marvel movies, the font and stuff, it all comes in like, which I know this is a hot take because a lot of people like Marvel movies, but they'll come in all like, and it's like, what do you need all that for? Tarantino puts yellow letters up and it says, Kill Bill Volume 2. Doesn't move, doesn't even fade, just cuts on with a beat and cuts out. Mm-hmm. So it's like, that's kind of big. Or like, I notice with 30-second spots, lots of times the music doesn't matter as much cutting to a beat. Whereas if you're story editing, making sure you cut to a beat, lots of times is, I feel, way bigger, But it's weird though, because if you do it too much, then it comes across like a music video, and it's like, eh.
I mean, that's how Baby Driver, like that was how the whole thing it had going for
Baby
it.
Driver. Yeah, I guess you're right.
And it kind of worked, which was surprising.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird story editing technique, to just do it like a music video, but it's also a movie. It's like a music movie.
Yeah.
Amadeus was like that as well. Amadeus, which is like...
That is a music movie.
Yeah, it's about music, but it's also like cut to the music. It's really... Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
It's really interesting because like
Probably bad.
Mozart will start to write a music piece like do 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 whatever it is, and then the music will start to come out of him writing it. Like it'll start to come onto the screen, the music will, and he'll be writing it, and then it'll cut into him actually playing it in a hall, like whatever he's doing, whatever he was just writing. And so the soundtrack and the actions on screen and that all kind of come together. It's really, really amazing. Like it's all very seamless. I didn't notice until my second time watching it how good the editing was for just doing like simple cuts and fades. But
so what about editing the story before anybody steps in front of a camera?
like storyboarding?
Yeah, storyboarding, script writing. Is there some way that you would tweak a story before it goes on the screen, something like that? What do you have to say about that?
I mean, storyboarding is always important. That way you kind of know what you're looking at. But the weird part is lots of times we'll storyboard something out, and then once it's on camera, it's slightly different, but mostly still the same. But then once you get it into Premiere, it'll look totally different. And whoever the editor is, it's kind of up to their discretion whether they want to stay true to the storyboard or if they are now seeing something different and want to bring something out in it, which I heard was kind of like Mad Max did that because they hired an amateur editor for it, not like an actual like big budget professional.
Yeah.
And so the end movie came out different than the original storyboard was intended to be. So that was kind of an interesting.
Yeah, it gives you a lot of power.
Yeah, it
Gives
is
you a
weird.
lot
All the power's in the editor's
lot of
hand at the end of the day. You better
leeway.
really trust him.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting take, a good perspective, and it was a good cold one, I guess.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Thanks for
Thank you
watching.
for joining. Yeah, thanks for watching.
And we really want to get some more viewers. So if this video gets 20 views, 18, 20, we'll say 20.
Yeah, 20.
I will tuck Sam in and give him a kiss goodnight. So make sure to tune in and check us out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.